Monet may have dropped off the call, but
Oh,
then you got any?
she's gone.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
she's gone.
I just wanted to add something, if you don't mind, because it just
No,
came into
not-
my head right now.
Not at all.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I mean, what I also wanted to say is, and I think it's proven already, right? I mean, we have a lot of kids out there, obviously, right? And I'm not just talking about the U.S. I'm talking about Europe. And I saw it myself, like living in the U.K. There are a lot of kids, and I think a lot of kids are just distracted by a lot of stuff that they don't really need for themselves, right? And I think obviously social media is a good and also like a bad thing. It really depends on how you're using it. But I think a lot of kids also would appreciate something like the art, right? In any way, if it's music, if it's acting, if it's painting, whatever it is, because I feel like it would get people back on track most of the time. I think a lot of people who are maybe struggling because they don't really know where they want to be in life, and they don't really want to understand who they are. I think art can help you to really find yourself, because what acting does for me, for example, I'm taking also the time to really work on myself and really find out who I am and what I want to do in life. And I think that's something I think a lot of people are not really aware of. And I think if you do something in the arts, you realize and learn how to also spend time with yourself and learn about yourself. And I think that's also like a key message for me.
Yeah, definitely. And Benjamin, how would you describe your singing style? Because like I said, I know you're a singer as well. So what style music would you describe your music as? Because like I said, I know that it's not probably mainstream singing, and you came out of Germany. So how would you describe your singing style or your music style, I should say?
Yeah, that's interesting that you asked me that. You know what? I'm from Germany, born and raised, but I was basically growing up with a lot of American music. So I'm a typical pop R&B singer. So I basically grew up with all the boy bands, for example, Michael Jackson, NSYNC, the Backstreet Boys, Neo, and all that kind of stuff. So that's my main influence, you know. It's funny for people in America always to hear that, because a lot of people, I think, still have the expectation that we don't really listen to American music. But most of our music we're listening to in Germany is actually American.
Gotcha. And Art, if you would share one of your other routines. Like I said, I love hearing comedians in their routines. I think I gave the lady that called last week, 2 or 3 routines, and you gave us that one routine. But have you got another routine that you'd love to share? I would love to hear it.
Absolutely. How careful should I be with language?
You can go out there. We don't care.
Okay. So I was at a bar a few weeks ago and waiting for a show to start, and I noticed like 7 people had their dogs there in the bar. And it's like people bring their dogs everywhere now. And then I stopped and thought about it, and I thought, dogs in a bar make all the sense in the world, because who's going to appreciate drunk sincerity more than a dog? And then if I'm on stage, I do this big act out, who's a good boy? And dog's like, no, I mean it, man. Who's a good boy? The dog's like, dude, I mean it. You are a fucking incredible boy. It's just you and me here. You know what I mean. And the dog just loses his mind, going like, finally, somebody gets me. And finally he's like, dude, you want to go outside? The dog's like, yeah. And do you want to go get the car? And the dog's like, maybe not the car.
Maybe not the car at all. No, dogs do not like the car. I've had dogs in the past. Haven't had one recently, and I've had cats even more recently. But that's not even being all that recent. But no, animals, as the general rule, you bring a car, most of them figure you're taking them to the vet.
Yeah. Oh, by the way.
Well, he's also drunk. He's a drunk driver.
Yeah.
The dog doesn't want to get in the car with a drunk guy.
I was just realized. I just realized that maybe that was your main question. I can also give you an example how it sounds like, if you like. Are you guys open for that?
Please.
Okay, I'll give you kind of an example, like a cover song, very quickly.
Baby, I just don't get it. Do you enjoy being hurt? I know you smell the perfume and makeup on his shirt. You don't believe the stories, you know that they're all lies. Bad as you are, you stick around, and I just don't know why. If I was your man, baby, you never worry about what I do. I'll be coming home back to you every night. You look like a woman deserved good things. Face full of diamonds, a head full of rings. I just want to start. I just want to show you you are. You should let me love you. Let me be the one who gave you everything you want and need.
There you go.
Not
Very
bad at
nice.
all.
That's
Impressive.
it. Yeah, yeah, I'm influenced by like Mario, Neo, and all that kind of stuff. My heroes.
Well, you definitely were emulating them in a big way. Now, both of you, who are some of the people that inspired you in terms of your creative ability? So, in terms of your music, Benjamin, and in terms of your comedy, who are some of the comedians that actually inspired you? And we'll actually, Benjamin just finished singing, so we'll start with Art and then come back to Benjamin. But who are some of the people that inspired you in comedy?
Well, back in the 80s, I remember I grew up watching stand-up comedians like Richard Pryor and George Carlin, Steve Martin, Robin Williams. But the one that kind of made me transition from a guy in my living room watching to somebody wanting to go out and figure out a way to do it myself was a night on HBO where a guy named Jerry Seinfeld shows up on Young Comedian. And, nobody knew who he was back then, but he was killing me. And I was thinking, I want to do that. And there were a lot of great comics on that night that you saw a lot of later on. But Jerry Seinfeld, his early work was really fun for me. Andy Kaufman, same thing. He did some really funny stuff, especially early on.
And now, you did mention that you're 58 before I get to Benjamin. Do you have any interest? Because a lot of times people that do what I call observational humor, whether that's Robin Williams, whether that's Jerry Seinfeld, who you just mentioned, they're usually trying to push for not just the comedy market, but for the TV market, because it seems natural for the TV market, those kind of comedians. So is that something that you're interested in, or have you pretty much resigned yourself to the fact that at your age that's not happening? Or is that something you're still trying to pursue?
Oh, no, man. I'm absolutely interested in it. I'm going for it. I have a certain amount of understanding of how likely it is. But it's unlikely for everyone, and you just got to go after it as hard as you can and hope to be one of the ones that do get television time.
Cool. And what about you, Benjamin? How close do you feel you are to your success? And who are some of the people that you idolized growing up?
Yeah, so you mean like my biggest inspiration in general,
yeah,
like
exactly.
when I was a kid? Yeah, so definitely Michael Jackson. I will never forget that. He's an icon everywhere, right? But when I think I was 10, 11 or something, and I saw a concert on television, on German television, and I saw Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk, and I was like, what the heck is going on here? I was like, what is he doing? And obviously also his music, right? This high-pitched voice and stuff like that. I was so intrigued by it. I was like, wow, this guy can sing like an angel. Seriously, it was interesting to me. And then, down the line, then all the boy bands came up. And, back in the days when you were a kid, when you were a boy, you never said that you were listening to the boy bands. And now that you're 30 or something, people like my age come up to me, yeah, we were listening to all the boy bands too and stuff. So everyone is now open with that. But that was basically really for me because these boy bands, very catchy songs, and I was really connected to that, right? And I was also lucky because there was a casting when I was around 17, 18 back in Germany, and they were casting for a boy band, and I was casted for that. So, and we had a regional tour in Germany and in Europe a little bit, which was pretty cool. That was my first experience being in a band back in the day. And that was really interesting to me. Because I think music is really connecting people, especially in Europe, where I'm from. As you know, we have so many different countries, we have so many different cultures living together, but we were listening almost to the same songs in Europe, Even that we don't communicate with each other, the music was kind of connecting us, right? And then people like Michael Jackson, all these boy bands, and then later also Justin Timberlake, Usher, these people really influenced me that way.
Wow. And what advice would
crazy.
Dean, where are we at in terms of time? We got about 2 minutes to go or 3? I lost track.
We got 4 minutes, my brother.
All right, we got 4 minutes. Cool. So what advice would you give to people that want to break into the arts, both you, Benjamin, and you, Art?
Yeah. Yeah. So
folks who want to break into the art, whether they're young or old, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, exactly. That's a very good question, seriously. I mean, honestly, I can always just say, just do what you feel like, seriously, because I met a lot of people, and a lot of people always ask me, hey, Ben, you just moved to the UK, you moved to the US, well, how did you do that? I could never do it. I was like, honestly, if I can do it, everyone can do it. I feel a lot of people that I met in my life so far. I mean, I'm not the oldest person, but seriously, I was really paying attention on that. A lot of people always feel like that they're not able to do it. Something is holding them back. And I feel like, especially in Europe, where people are, I think in general, I would say people in Europe a little more conservative, especially where I'm from. So for them, that someone like myself is just leaving Germany and is not just working from 9 to 5 and is also doing something in the art, it's something so like weird almost for them, because oh my God, how can you do that? It's so risky, and you know, of course art is risky, but I'm just believing is that you just have one life, and if you are organized a little bit and you just know what you do and what you're capable of, and you have and you're financially stable a little bit, so that's what I'm meaning with preparing and organizing yourself. You should definitely give it a shot, because and trust me, I see that with a lot of people. They're going to wake up when they're old, when they're late, like in their life, and they're definitely going to regret that they never tried it. And that's basically the first advice that I can give to people. If your feeling is telling you that you have to make a change and you want to do something else with your life, just go for it. Work on it that you can make it happen, and just go for it.
Definitely.
It sounds very simple what I'm saying, but it's very hard for people, you know.
Yeah. And what about you, Art? What advice would you give?
I give people 3 rules in stand-up comedy, and that is, number 1, be funny. Number 2, be easy to work with. And number 3, say yes whenever you can. And pretty much any advice you can give somebody that has to do with stand-up comedy is going to fit into one of those 3 categories.
Wow. And very profound but very simple advice that a lot of folks probably could do on a lot of things in life, not just with art, but just in terms of living in general. Because that seems to be very basic rules that we could all live on.
Totally agree. I think that's what life is all about, right? I think all of us. I mean, that you guys do the show, for example, is something that you love. You're passionate about it, and you just thought, oh my God, let's do it. We feel like it. Let's do it.
Exactly.
And I appreciate that, you know.
Thank you. Glad to have all 3 of y'all on the show. Y'all have all given some great insight into both your own performances and just life in general, and to the arts and everything. So glad to have all 3 of you, both you, Art, and you, Ben, as well, and of course Monet, who was on earlier. So, Dean, what kind of party thought you got as we get ready to wrap up this particular episode?
You know what? As we wrap up this particular episode, my brother, as I always say, when you walk out your front door, it's showtime, and the world is your stage. Just make sure that people are not watching the rehearsal. With that, we have wrapped up the first month of the year. We got 11 more to go before we get to 2020. We're not trying to run time, but at the same time, we're going to have fun while we do it. It's Straight Talk with Dean and Mark, Monday night here at blogtalkradio.com. Replays on the Skyhawk Radio Network on Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock p.m. And you catch the replays on Radio Public, iHeartRadio, Google Play Music, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and right here. So with that being said, we appreciate all our listeners nationwide and worldwide. It's the 6-man Dean Geronimo. I'm out.
And I definitely wanted to thank our guests for being on the show. They were amazing guests. Glad to have them on. We'll have to have them back on in the very near future to continue the conversation. We've got some more creatives coming on next week. And believe it or not, we've got somebody, I believe, in the March month that's going to be talking about the fact that they believe the end times are coming on. So, you know, we talk about all kinds of stuff. But mostly we've got creatives, and that's for the next couple of weeks. But we do have some people that will be talking about some social issues and some people that believe that the end times are nearby. So if you've got some interesting guests that you're interested in bringing to us, let us know. You can reach us right here on Blog Talk. You can also hit me at bluesradio@gmail.com. But if you're in the creative world, the entrepreneurial world, or the activism world, or the education world, that's our primary focus, and that's what we love to talk to. So if you know people in those